Let's begin tonight with For-A's VFC-7000. Why is it a 7000? Because it can shoot 700 frames per second. They've got their decimal numbers off. We'll be sure to correct them later. But here it is right here. They also call it a flash eye. Flash eye camera because it can shoot faster than in the flash of an eye. It's very small. It's not so light. It's about 10 pounds, right? 9, 10 pounds. But it's very, very small, and it's compact. Everything that you need in the camera is right on the back there. It's got 2 different HD SDI outputs. All right? One of the HD SDI outputs is sort of program out. The different one, the other HD SDI output, is viewfinder out. Why would you want to have one program out and one viewfinder out? Well, the camera is always recording. It's always filling up its buffer. So you could theoretically want to play back something in slow motion while still having the capacity to capture what else is going on. Say you're in sports, right, and you capture a goalie's exciting soccer save, but there's a rebound and a goal right afterwards. You want the capacity to play that exciting save in slow motion, but still have the capacity to record just in case somebody scores while you were playing back that slow motion replay. So pretty clear, very important, have your 2 outputs. Additionally, there's a BNC for Gen Lock In because obviously this could be part of a multi-camera solution. That's right here. There's a second piece to this slow motion camera, and that's the controller. So the controller is right here. Check it out. Can we get in kind of tight? Maybe Ramsey's get in on that. So the controller connects to the camera with just one Ethernet cable. All right? The camera can record up to 12 seconds sort of on its own. And if you were to add an upgrade to the camera, you can get 30 seconds of record time. Now you might be saying to yourself, 10 seconds, that's not very much time. But you have to remember that we're recording at 700 frames per second, so it's really 20 times real time. Right? So 10 seconds is like 200 seconds so on playback. The native resolution of the camera, 720p, but of course you can output 1080i if you wanted to. So let's do a quick demonstration. Let's take a look at the controller. Get in really close on this. Let's go back to Ramsey's for that. OK. You've got all of your important camera features on this touchscreen menu. So in record settings, I can change my recording frame rate. Well, for today's demo, we're going to do 600 frames per second. All right? Am I sure? Yes, I am sure. OK. Additionally, if you wanted to do things like white balance your camera, black balance your camera, turn on or off the shutter, it's all very simple touch screen controls, just like we changed our frame rate. It takes a little bit of time, but once you're done, you're ready to rock and roll. And that's just a second away. Here we are. All right, so let's go to the you'll recall I said there's 10 seconds of memory. All right? But also, the camera is always recording over its own buffer. So in order to get useful information out of this and not overwrite your data, you can split the 10 seconds of recording up into different areas on the disk. So in our case, let's go in close again. Yeah. So in our case, the number of areas is 2. So we've got 2 recording areas, each with about 5.7 seconds. You could split it into more areas for fewer seconds, right? Let's say you wanted to try it 4 times. You hit record, 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 record. In our case, we just want to have 2 takes. Each take can be up to 5 seconds long. So 2 areas, 5.7 seconds. This is a lot faster than the frame rate change. So now let's go into the record and play mode. You'll see that I can tell the program HD SDI output to either be live or clip 1 or clip 2. And you may notice this little blinking red light here, record. We're recording on clip 1 right now. So we're going to do a quick demo, and then we're going to take another look at this control panel. So Verge, if I can see the camera's output for me. Thanks very much. So because we're recording at 600 frames per second, it's a little bit dark. This camera eats up light like crazy. In fact, every time you double your frame rate, you lose an entire stop of light. So we're going to be playing back at 30 frames per second, right? So 30 to 60 to 120 to 240 to 480, whatever. It's about 4 stops of light that we're losing because we're recording so many frames per second. But let's go. Let's frame that back up for a second, and we'll do a quick demonstration. So let's make sure we've got focus here. Yeah. OK. So we'll spin a coin. All right. So this is the live playback. That's how it looks in real life. But as soon as the quarter falls, we'll hit the trigger button. All right. So now, if you can stream Ramsey's image, Verge, let's get in real close on this. As close as you can, man. Yeah, yeah. It's hard to read, but under clip number 1 is the word new because we've recorded a new clip. But under clip number 2, that record light is still blinking. So that's the camera still writing over its buffer, you know, just in case somebody spins a coin next to me and they want to capture the action. But let's go into 1, and now, Verge, if you could show the output of this camera. I'm going to start at the beginning of this clip. There's my coin, and I'm playing back at 30 frames per second. Okay, so it's gorgeous. But there's a little more to it. Let's say I wanted to sort of move along in the clip here. I could ramp it up to 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second, right? Or if I wanted to freak people out, back down to 30 frames per second. This is the kind of stuff that you can do live. So, I mean, it's gorgeous. It's up to 700 frames per second. You could play it back at 30. You could play it back at 24, 720, 1080, however you wanted to do it. So now I'd like to just talk about the accessories for the lens. This camera is available for rental at Midtown Video, but the camera alone isn't going to make it happen for you. You're going to need a nice high-definition monitor to see your viewfinder and also your program output. But more importantly than that, you're going to want some kind of recorder, all right? We've done this with our Pix 240, which is nice because it's got the built-in monitor. Right now I've got a nano flash on top of it. The value of having a recorder with you is that this camera, it's all volatile memory. Once we're done playing back, once we turn that off, it's gone. So even though we have the capacity to play it back in slow motion, we need something to record that on. I like a nice portable digital recorder, something like a nano flash. Compact flash cards will operate the playback and say, play, record, boom. Now you've got your 600 frames per second clip ready for 30 frames per second playback. Let's say you had a keyPro on the set. You could put it right into ProRes 422. So it was shot at 600, 700 frames per second, recorded in whatever codec you like. So a solid rental package is about $2,500 for a day. That'll get you a tripod, a digital recorder, a high-definition monitor, and this beautiful VFC-7000 from For-A. All right? What kind of lenses can you put on this camera? So right now we've got a Zeiss Super Speed T1.3. It's important to have a really fast lens on here, obviously, because of how much light it eats up. If you weren't into the whole prime lens thing, if you were doing sports production, for instance, and needed a zoom lens, there is a B4 mount. So B4, that's like from before we all started using DSLRs. That's when we had cameras on our shoulders and a 2/3 inch camera CCD. So these are how do I put this politically correctly? These are the wiser folks in the video world that have experience with zoom lenses. So you take it off your Betacam, you take it off your HDW F900, and you put it on the VFC-7000. That gives you the capacity to zoom in wherever you need to zoom in, focus right on your chip, shoot your slow motion stuff, play it back to the amazement of the crowd.